honestly, with the knife thing, like I truly, for 20 years was sitting there watching what I thought were, kind of inferior knives being sold to hunters by people and companies that really didn't actually hunt or design their knives to hunt. And also, I actually saw it getting where a mentality developed over that 20-year stretch where people began to throw their knives away instead of passing them down, instead of worrying about, or concerning themselves with learning how to buy a knife that was of a high quality or how to sharpen that knife and maintain it. It was just like became another throwaway item. And that's where, like, I'm kind of on a personal mission to change that narrative, especially for people who hunt. Like, I've sharpened thousands of these knives for people over the last 30 years where people walk into my shop and they're like, this was my grandfather's knife. Can you sharpen it? This was my dad's. He died 10 years ago. It's the only thing I've got from him. I know he carried it everywhere. Can you sharpen it out? I want to carry it, or I want to put it in my safe or on my mantle. And we don't think at 30 and 40 years old about, like, you probably think like nobody cares about the knife you're using today, right? But in 30 and 40 years or in 50 years when you're dead and gone, there's very good chance there's going to be somebody that's like, this is cool. My grandpa carried this for years on all these hunts when he was working at SITKA, It's not on us to determine what's valuable to the next generation. It's on them, and
absolutely.
to just throw that away, it takes that opportunity for them to value something that they would,
Yeah, and you're hitting on something too, Josh. I think there's absolutely the heirloom side of it, but, real time dealing with this, we live in a throwaway culture. It's not, whether it's a knife, a garment, plastic bottles, whatever, right? And and it's, God bless the industry who makes that a big deal and tries to make it better, right? But sometimes it's for profit, sometimes it's for purpose. But at the end of the day, that's a problem, right? We live in a throwaway culture, and start recognizing that, you're making gear, right? You're making a tool. You're making something that may be a lifetime is how you decide to measure it. Is it the lifetime I own it? Is it the lifetime I own it plus another person? Maybe it's my son. What's a lifetime? And and then as you're designing a product and you start owning that responsibility, what commitment am I making? Am I making a commitment to the guy who puts the Benjamins on the table? Am I making a commitment to 2 generations after that, right?
Right.
And I think if you kind of say, well, we live in a throwaway culture, that's a problem. Let me change the way people think and make something that's supposed to be, treasured, an heirloom, but all up to the task, right?
Right.
There's crazy statistics on the stuff goes in landfills, and the apparel industry, because I sit on that side, we're one of the worst offenders.
Yeah.
We know it, and we're not hiding, Fashion for Good and all kinds of other organizations working to make it better, and we're trying to be part of that movement. But I think even from where you guys are, that narrative and how you think, and you pay a little more, right? Consumers need to think that way too, right? Like, I pay more because I expect more.